Ervin, maybe you can tell us a little bit about some of the misconceptions about the IELTS, because I think that's one of them, that people really don't, they don't need a teacher, or they don't need somebody to help them, and speaking to the wall, as Alex says, is the way to do it, which we know is not the way to do it. Can you talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions? I think you sent a slide also. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So first things first, I learned this when I attended the International Conference on English Language Assessment when I was sent to Shanghai, China from December 1 to 5, 2017, where I was the lone representative coming from the Philippines. And there I met the big bosses of IELTS in Asia. And I learned during that time that 60 to 70% of those taking the examination don't enroll in any preparation course. Now, this is not to say that they will automatically fail in the examination. It's just that these people who think that, oh, English is something which is natural to me. I've been talking in English since birth. This is this dangerous overconfidence is the reason why there are people who are shocked with the kinds of questions coming out in the examination. And because I'm a teacher in the Philippines, I'd like to share the Philippine statistics. So if nurses going to the United States need a grade of 7, the national average in speaking is 6.7. So that means to say more nurses do not get the required band score of 7 as compared to those who ace it on their first attempt. Now, what about writing? Well, yes, speaking is challenging, but the national average for Filipinos in writing is just 6.1 to 6.2. But why is it that we consider this good news? Well, nurses going to the United States don't need to get a 6.5 or a 7 in writing, but they need a 7 in the speaking subtest. So imagine, even if the nurses get a 9 in listening, 9 in reading, 9 in writing, but a 6.5 in speaking, it means to say they need to repeat the examination. So like what I've said, I learned certain misconceptions when I met other representatives from the other Asian countries. Now, one of those, if I may share the first one, some people think that one testing center uses more difficult test papers or questions compared to the other testing center. And obviously, this is a fallacy. Why? Because British Council and IDP use exactly the same test paper. It's not as if British Council and IDP are the ones making the test papers. Imagine that they are the distributors of the examination. So we tell the students, we prepare you to pass the examination, but we don't prepare you for a specific testing center. So that's the first misconception I'd like to share. Should I tackle the second one now, or do we get input or feedback from the other speakers?
Do you want to just give us a quick sum up of that second one, and then we're going to move on to another topic on the IELTS?
Okay, so some people are thinking it might be easier to pass the examination when they take the test in a specific country, but that is totally wrong. As Scott mentioned earlier, IELTS is standardized. It's the same standard followed globally. Now, certain people or candidates coming from Asia are thinking that white examiners might be a little more lenient or a little more generous in this speaking subtest. The truth of the matter is it has nothing to do with the nationality of the examiner. We prepare candidates to pass the examination regardless of the interviewer. Now, there is this tendency for people to gravitate towards big words, and they're thinking that if they use big words, it might impress the examiner. It's just that we always emphasize to our reviewees, IELTS is not a test to impress the examiner. This is an examination for you to express yourself. So if you're able to use big words correctly, in the right context, they will help you pass the examination. But the moment you use them inappropriately, instead of helping you pass, it's more likely that they are going to pull you down. Now, some people are thinking, okay, it's just better to just memorize specific answers to these questions. Well, memorizing templates will not necessarily help you, because at the end of the day, examiners are smart. They know if you're just memorizing something and delivering something that's in your head.
They can hear that, right? They'll be able to pick that up. Yeah, so thank you for that, Ervin. I think that gives a lot of very good information about some of the misconceptions about the IELTS. Eagle, did you have some misconceptions before you took the IELTS exam?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I really don't know how to construct a good sentence in through my speaking session, and I don't know how to start, or even if I need to elaborate this one, or even I need to give my answer directly. So that's I think that are the reasons that I learned from the swoosh, in order for me to improve my speaking.
Okay. And I think that's very common. Jennifer, you've done a lot of IELTS Hero interviews. Are there any other common misconceptions about the IELTS before people get started on it?
Well, I think maybe some of them, they realize it's a tough exam. I think they know it's hard, but I don't think for the ones that have had to take it repeatedly, I don't think they realized the first time just how hard it was. So they thought they could get by with self study.
Yeah.
And they did that for, I don't know how long. It could be many months, and it could lead into possibly a couple of years. And then they break down and they decide that maybe the self study is not paying off, and that's when they'll decide to enroll in a great review. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things I see is thinking they can do self study and realizing after they get into it and get a little more serious. I think they walk into the exam thinking maybe they can just crack open the book for a couple minutes on each topic, and then they realize when they get there for the exam itself that it's really just not like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's very common.